Welcome to our channel Stories and More. Today we shall discuss on the possibilities that Mount Adams in Washington will have its first eruption since the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Mount Adams, located in the Cascade Range of Washington State, is one of the largest and most majestic stratovolcanoes in the United States. Despite its towering presence and volcanic origins, Mount Adams has been relatively quiet in terms of volcanic activity for millennia. Its last significant eruption is thought to have occurred around 1,000 years ago. This begs the question, could Mount Adams experience a future eruption, especially considering that it hasn't erupted since ancient times, possibly dating back to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, approximately 4,500 years ago? Understanding Mount Adams' geologic history. Mount Adams, standing at 12,281 feet, 3,743 meters, is part of the Cascade Volcanic Arc, which is a chain of volcanoes stretching from British Columbia to Northern California. The volcano has a complex structure built from layers of hardened lava, volcanic ash, and pumice, typical of a stratovolcano. Historical eruptions. While Mount Adams is considered an active volcano, it has been far less active than its neighboring Cascade volcanoes like Mount St. Helens or Mount Rainier. Its most recent eruptive period was during the Holocene epoch, around 1,000 years ago. However, evidence of earlier activity is scattered across the landscape, indicating that Mount Adams has experienced various periods of eruptions over the last 500,000 years. The possibility that Mount Adams may have been inactive since the time of the Great Pyramid's construction, roughly 4,500 years ago, is plausible. The exact timing of ancient eruptions is not always well constrained, but no major activity has been recorded in historical records, further supporting the idea that Mount Adams has remained largely dormant. The connection to the Great Pyramid of Giza. The construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which began around 2580 BCE, is often used as a marker of ancient human achievement. At that time, Mount Adams and much of the Cascade Range were likely still experiencing sporadic volcanic activity. However, the geological records suggest that major eruptions at Mount Adams had slowed significantly by this period. Given the sheer age and endurance of the Great Pyramid, some have speculated about the possibility that Mount Adams has not erupted in the entire span of recorded human civilization since this monumental project began. If true, this would make the volcano's dormancy period unusually long, even by geological standards. Could Mount Adams erupt again? Despite its prolonged dormancy, Mount Adams is not extinct. Dormancy in a stratovolcano can last for thousands of years, but the potential for future eruptions remains. Volcanologists closely monitor seismic activity, gas emissions, and ground deformation at volcanic sites to predict future eruptions. Although Mount Adams does not show signs of imminent activity, the risk of an eruption in the future cannot be entirely ruled out. The Cascade Range, which includes Mount Adams, is located on a subduction zone where the Juan de Fuca plate is being pushed beneath the North American plate. This tectonic activity generates magma deep beneath the Earth's surface, feeding the volcanoes of the Cascade Arc. While Mount Adams has been quiet, it is still part of this active geological system, indicators of future eruption. Several warning signs could indicate that Mount Adams is building toward an eruption, including increased seismic activity. A spike in volcanic earthquakes beneath Mount Adams would suggest that magma is moving toward the surface. Ground deformation. Swelling of the ground around the volcano could indicate magma accumulation below. Gas emissions. Changes in the types and amounts of gases emitted from fumaroles near the summit could signal an increase in volcanic activity. If these signs were observed, it could suggest that Mount Adams is reawakening after thousands of years of dormancy. The impact of a future eruption. If Mount Adams were to erupt, the effects would depend on the nature of the eruption. Historically, Mount Adams has produced effusive eruptions, characterized by the flow of lava rather than explosive blasts. However, even a relatively mild eruption could have significant consequences for the surrounding environment. Lava flows. These could destroy forests, disrupt rivers, and pose risks to communities living near the base of the volcano. Lahars, volcanic mud flows. Mount Adams' large glaciers could melt during an eruption, causing massive mud flows that could sweep through valleys and threaten infrastructure. Ashfall. Depending on wind patterns, ash from an eruption could spread across the region, affecting air quality and agriculture. While Mount Adams is less hazardous than its neighbor, Mount St. Helens, an eruption would still require careful monitoring and coordinated emergency responses to protect nearby communities. Conclusion. Although Mount Adams has not erupted since long before the dawn of recorded human history, including potentially before the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, it remains a dormant, not extinct, volcano. Future eruptions are possible, but unlikely to occur without warning. Volcanologists continue to monitor the volcano for any signs of renewed activity, ensuring that any potential eruption would be met with adequate preparedness. The ancient silence of Mount Adams is a reminder that even the most powerful natural forces can enter periods of dormancy, only to reawaken when the conditions are right. Whether it will erupt again remains a matter of scientific observation and prediction, but its long history of dormancy makes the prospect of a new eruption both intriguing and uncertain. For more captivating insights into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel stories and more, and share to others. Thank you for watching.